you've got three beautiful kids and you're running a global business. I guess, how did that all come about?
Because I'm crazy. I actually always knew I wanted to have my own business one day. And I had a background in corporate retail and I thoroughly enjoyed climbing the corporate ladder. And then motherhood was like a curveball for me because all of a sudden I'm at home with a baby and I need more fuel for my brain. And as much as I love being a mum, I still have this creative, hardworking flair about me. And so when I actually needed a nursing pillow and I couldn't find the right one, I decided to invent my own. And at the time it was more like a hobby. Like, why doesn't this portable product exist? Women no longer stay at home and feed all day. Like, what's going on? As much as it was a hobby, when I brought it to market, people liked it. And that turned into a business. And I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. Don't get me wrong. That's how Feeding Friend evolved. And it's grown into a brand. And I absolutely love it. I can't imagine going back to being an employee.
Oh no, hell no! Not having that. Let's not go back there. But I guess talking about being an employee, kind of going from employee to business owner, you would have to have changed a lot of thought process, mindset, that kind of stuff. I guess what kind of mindset shifts or changes did you have to go through?
That's a really good question. To start back at the very beginning in not knowing what to do and having to self-motivate to learn those skills is actually quite scary. So to answer your question, I went from being in a position where I know how to do my job effectively and really well to all of a sudden, okay, I don't know how to run a business on my own or anything about trademarking and cash flow balancing and all of that. I had to completely shift my mindset to tell myself that it's totally okay to start from the beginning and that don't be afraid of it. We all start from somewhere, and that not knowing isn't a reflection of my intellect. It's actually a sign of strength to put myself out there, take risks, ask the right questions, and start from the bottom again. And just like the seasons of life and autumn, summer, winter, it's like starting from nothing to then growing slowly is very exciting. Growth is exciting.
And I think it's important that you don't have that ego about you, right? To be able to ask good questions.
I find it challenging before being a mum to ask questions. There is an element of fear. How does this may look? But I kind of scrapped all of that and put that behind me when I became a mum, because when entering motherhood for me, you're already quite vulnerable. And so it kind of worked hand in hand. Everybody's seeing it all. So may as well just continue with being vulnerable and not, learning as I'm growing in my role as a new mum. So it went hand in hand. And
I like how you mentioned about cash flow, because I think the biggest problem for new businesses is they don't understand you don't have a stable income anymore. Yes. The income is going to be start-stop or whatever, especially as a startup. And I guess that does play on your mentality. So how did you, develop that mental strength to handle that, start-stop of income? Yeah, you're no longer having a paid leave. You're no longer having, all this.
Yes, it's incredibly daunting. When you're in business is not knowing where you're going to have the cash flow to continue re-injecting back into the business for growth. And so that kind of ties in with asking questions and researching and being vulnerable, and finding out what support networks are out there. And I actually spend a lot of my time researching, and there's so much support out there for small businesses and grants. I started applying for government grants, and there are third parties who can do that on your behalf, but because that costs money, I said to myself, no, I'm going to do it on my own. And it was about 50 hours of applying for one particular government grant that kept me afloat. So yeah, cash flow is huge. I also had an incredibly supportive family, which makes a big difference when it comes to starting a business. You need that support from your family and friends, which I've been very grateful to have had that support.
Yeah. And I guess your family and friends help you stay grounded, help you keep you sane, give you that mental support alongside being mum.
In saying that, I think my family must think I'm a little bit crazy, but they've supported my ideas. But what I want to emphasize here is that I've got to be my own biggest support. Without me believing in myself that this is something that I can actually do, no one else is going to believe me if I don't believe myself. I absolutely love the fact that my children are proud to say my mum's an inventor. And when they're proudly saying that their mum's an inventor and they've invented a portable nursing pillow, that actually makes me very proud in my role as being a mum, because I'm instilling values into them to be proud of their achievements and to own it and not be shy of saying things that when they do well in it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I guess like speaking about kids, how do you find, you seem like a workaholic, right? How do you find yourself, or how do you keep yourself balanced between work, business, life, all that kind of stuff? Is there a balance?
I don't know whether this is coming with age, but the older I'm getting, I'm learning how important interactions are with people. And when it comes to friends and my social life, that's really important to upkeep and balance that. However, I will make sure that those interactions are with the right people who see my true worth and I want to keep within my life. And that might sound horrible, but there's surface level friends and then there's deep friends where you can both support and feed and grow off of each other. And I guess I've done a lot of culling, but that's not necessarily bad. That's just me acknowledging that time is so incredibly precious, and that when I do allocate some time for my social life and friends, that it's with the right people, and I get the right fulfillment in those interactions, so that I have that positive energy to pour back into my family. But to be honest with you, I didn't balance that. And I really, really struggled. And I am a workaholic. And so while I wanted to really grow my business from the very beginning, my health was deteriorating. So I have been through a lot of periods in my journey, my business journey, of breakdowns. And that's okay, because again, it gives me time to reassess what's important and what I'm needing in that time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what, I guess, is important to you? Like, how would you define success?
Oh, this is such a good question. Success for me isn't about money. It is about time. So if I am able to get to a point in my business career of being comfortable so that I can pour more time into my family and into my close friends, then that for me is the ultimate level of success, because running a business does take a lot of time.
So I guess last question is, in terms of like, if you had to do it all over again, would there be something you would change? And if there is, what would you change?
Wow. I would definitely do a business plan.
What is that? No one does that.
Business plan. I guess you've got to be a risk taker to get into business to begin with. So if I was to have done a business plan, maybe I would not have started. I don't think I would have changed anything, to be honest.
Did you just say if you had done a business plan, you wouldn't have started?
Yeah. And the reason why I've said that is because if it's all put on paper, how much things cost and how much time is needed to devote into the business, then you will kind of lose that element and that passion for doing it to begin with. And I think not knowing and remaining curious is what keeps you growing and learning. And if I knew it all, then would I really do it to the same level that I'd be doing it now? Probably not. So would I change anything? I would I would probably have a better calendar for preventing those burnouts. Social media, being on the phone, having better set boundaries as to when I'm no longer going to be checking my phone. A simple practice, one that I've started now and that's helped me a lot, is something that I would do differently. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.